Everybody, welcome back with the Purplatypus is the name, and welcome to another sort of Convallaria video. Today, we are going to be building Rawiyah. Why am I doing it today? Why am I doing this character? Well, I just unlocked this character for free as part of the... Come to the menu here, to the Voyage Memento. And I'm probably ahead of the average player, but I assume most players... Most players are going to be getting her very soon here, so I figured this is a good time. People are going to be getting her. They're going to want to know how to build her. Let's jump into it. So I actually think that this is going to be one of the easiest characters to build in terms of what abilities you're going to take on them and what their job is and whatnot. So let's jump into it, but I'll kind of let you know other things you can do, but why I don't recommend doing one of her paths, basically. So her trait here is increases her damage by 8%, at level 1, which is cool. At the start of turn or during a strike back, there's a 50% chance to recover 30% of her lost HP and gain Tipsy. Tipsy is a buff that gives her a 30% crit chance and decreases damage taken by 10%. So she does have some pretty good damage negation. She has a really good crit chance. She has a good way to heal, and she gets increased damage. This is all a very good passive. Worth noting, as free-to-play players, we are going to get, I'm not one of you, I guess, but just by going through and playing the game, you get, I think, 2 additional copies of her and 20 more, something like that. So everyone should be able to get her to 3 stars, even without farming any shards and without pulling any dupes. So this should be relatively the baseline. It just won't be day 1. But it's going to be 16% damage with a 70% chance to recover 40% HP in Tipsy. And then if you ever get the 5 stars, it gets way better. Yeah, all these numbers kind of go up, but it's the 2 times per round is a huge deal. So this ability is really good. It does make it so she's really good at it. Basically increases her damage in 2 different ways. It increases her survivability in 2 different ways, right? It gives her crit chance, it gives her extra damage, and then her survivability, it gives her damage reduction, and it gives her healing. So you can already kind of see that they're kind of giving you, hey, do you want to go a tanky route or do you want to go a damage dealing route? Now, her very first ability here is kind of a low damage ability, but it might be one of my favorite fucking abilities in this game. It is, I think it's a unique basic attack. I don't think I've seen this on another ability, anything like this quite yet, but maybe there's something. There's a lot of abilities. Single target attack, only 85% damage, so you're losing 15% from an average basic attack, which kind of sucks, but she does have that passive damage boost, but knocks the target back 2 tiles. This ability is so nice. You could use it all the time, and you just knock shit. It might have 15% less damage, but it just OHKOs so many things because you knock them off of edges. Now, this ability does get a lot worse when you're fighting bosses that are immune to it. So later down the line, you might want to consider switching this out for one of the other basic attacks, but for the most part, I would keep this one for the whole thing. The other ability she starts with is a little bit of a complex ability in terms of how many words there are, but it's pretty straightforward how it actually works. So it is 1 energy for an instant ability. You are going to charge 3 tiles and hit someone for a 30% damage. Pretty darn weak, but it is good in the sense that it lets you move extra tiles, right? So you could use this ability to just, move your distance and then run up to hit someone and then use Gash to knock them off if you want to do that. But the really good thing about this ability is after you use it, you get Tropical Cyclone. Worth noting also, if you're tipsy, which again, you have a chance to start at the beginning of your turn, they can't react to you when you do this. So that's pretty good. So even if they have normally, like they would turn and they would hit you, you basically, boom, they cannot use reactions for 2 turns, which is very, very powerful. Good against things on like suppression. If you're having trouble with suppression, she might be like perfect for that kind of stuff. But then you're going to get Tropical Cyclone. So this is like a single target nuke. Very powerful. It goes up to 190% damage, which is huge. Also, assuming you're tipsy, right? You're getting extra crit chance. You're also getting that damage buff from her passive. This thing hits really, really, really hard. One of the best single target damage dealing abilities in the game, but it does 140 plus 10% for each debuff. So you're not going to probably get 5 debuffs out of it. You're going to be at 150% if you do the reaction skill, right? This is a debuff. So you're going to get at least 10% there, but you might want a little bit of help, maybe with a certain, there might be some weapon or something. There actually is a really cool trinket here you might want to use. Catastrophe, if you get that, It's an instant ability. It doesn't have any cost, but you can only use it every 4 turns. But it inflicts a random level 2 debuff on an attribute. So it's a good way, just to, without her having any support, to guarantee that you're doing an extra 10% of damage here. And then if you get like their defense down, that's really good too. But obviously, there's a lot of ways to get debuffs. If you get 5 debuffs, you're getting 50% damage. That's huge. So very, very good ability. This is where you start, right? She's very good at knocking things off the edge and hitting things really hard, all while being able to heal herself very, very well, right? Because every time you do the tipsy, not to mention she's also recovering her own HP. So now let's actually take a look at her skill tree here. So you can see what I'm going to be doing, and then you could do what you want. Of course, I'm not telling you how to play, but I'm going to tell you exactly why, once we get to an ability up top, why I recommend getting what I'm getting. So co-attack. For each ally within 2 tile radius, increase damage by 5% up to 15%. Not my favorite ability, but really, I'm not a big fan of being immune to injured and dying. It's like fine, but the thing is, she has so much. Her healing is a percent of her lost HP. So she's really good at healing all the way back up frequently. This could be worth it. That way you're just always stay out of the injured state. Like you're never, because you might be in the injured state a decent amount, which does decrease your damage dealt and increases your damage taken. But I honestly am not like super impressed with this on this character that has a lot of self-healing. However, extra damage just could be hard to line up, but still, even if there's only one ally still getting this extra damage, you know, it's all good. Up here, Piercing Bash. Physical damage, single target attack, deals 130% damage. Before attacking, the character gains armor piercing. So this ability is good in the sense that it doesn't take any juice, right? It's just a 3 cost, 3 cooldown. Boom, boom, boom. How do I get my camera somewhere better? Maybe we'll go here for now. There we go. My face isn't important. 3 cooldown. It's good damage. It does armor piercing, right? You ignore 40% of their defense when attacking. It's good, but the issue is on the other side here. Like I would probably take this over co-attack if I could, but you can't. Another pint. This is really good. Instant. It does cost an energy. So one of her cons. We'll get into her pros and cons, but just to highlight it, she takes a lot of energy, so she might want some support from there. But 1 energy every 3 turns, healing, instant ability, recover 60% of your lost HP. Now, this is on top of you already have a passive chance to just randomly heal 30% of your lost HP, or realistically, it's 40% if you get her up to 3 stars, which everyone's going to sooner rather than later. And that's good because, I mean, yeah, and then you get Tipsy. So Tipsy is really important, again, just to restate, increases your crit, decreases your damage taken. This ability could be stacked. That means you'll get 2 stacks of Tipsy, giving you a 60% crit, 20% damage reduction, and you have probably healed up to full, so you're no longer injured, so you don't have to worry about this thing here. Very, very awesome ability. Honestly, getting that much crit is just nuts. You already have one of the strongest, like, single target damage abilities in the game, and I think that this is just going to be... I can't imagine having Piercing Bash over another pint. Another pint feels so core to her identity of a character, not in terms just, you know, thematically, but also in terms of her kit. She wants to stack Tipsy. She wants to remain at a high HP. It increases her damage. It increases her damage negation, and it heals her. It's just a fucking badass ability. So when we get up here, 2 abilities here, and this is where I really think that there's not really much of like an option here, right? I really think most of these are just super obvious choices. Maybe rank 1, I could be convinced that toughness is better. I'm not going to be convinced that Piercing Bash is better. And Guardian Heart, so this is a reaction. It doesn't take any energy, but you take the physical attack for all other allies within 1 tile of the character, and then you perform a strike back. This is okay, but I don't want her to be a tank. I don't want her taking unnecessary damage, you know? I want her healing to basically be there when she happens to get damaged. This will help her maybe trigger Tipsy a little bit more. But I honestly just don't like this ability on her. And why don't I like this ability on her? Because she is primarily going to be part of the Sword of Convallaria team. So we're going to talk about it when we get up here, but I don't recommend this ability. I don't think she's a tank. She does get some damage negation. She does get some healing, but I really think her role is to be a bruiser, to be a tanky but primarily damage dealer, not trying to protect the team, trying to kill shit while also just being hard to kill. Screw Off is a very similar ability, but it's a little bit better. Basically, if you get hit by an attack, you could do a strike back, which does 70% damage, and it knocks them back 2 tiles. Which is, you have to be tipsy to knock them back 2 tiles, but you're usually tipsy anyway. And sometimes if you didn't get tipsy at the start of your turn, and this is on cooldown, you still have like the 70% chance of getting tipsy when they attack you, right? So this is frequently going to knock someone back 2 tiles, and it does the same amount of damage. But I just like this ability a bit more because knocking people away is usually pretty strong. And sometimes it just knocks them off cliffs. I like that she's so good at knocking shit around. So up here, now don't get me wrong. Mania Smash is a very cool ability. It's very good, but there's a few major issues with it. Single target attack deals 120% damage. After attacking, gains 40% lifesteal. I dislike a lot about this ability, but I like a lot about this ability, right? It's decent damage. Gaining lifesteal after the fact. I wonder, does this heal you immediately based on a percent of the damage dealt to enemies? I don't know if this heals you before, with this attack or just future attacks. But here's the thing. She's got a lot of healing already, okay? She's got higher damage attacks. She's got more healing. And this is 3. These abilities are expensive. I mean, this one only cost 1. But the one that you want to be using all the time, right? You want to be using Gale Breach in the Tropical Cyclone. That's 1 energy into like another 2 energy. So that's 3 energy. So you're using 4 energy here every couple turns. And then we haven't even gotten to the super ability up here. So this is just, you don't have the energy for this ability. It's just not good enough to take. But really what's holding this ability back is what's across from it. Sword of Convallaria. This is the right choice. Make sure you pick up this ability. It's a leader's aura. For all Sword of Convallaria allies in battle. Increases attack by 10%. And this doesn't mean for her, like the way I first read it is like, oh, for each of them, she gets this benefit. That's not what it does. Basically, all allies get this benefit in battle. There's no range on it. Attack 10%, defense 20%, and damage dealt 8%, and decrease their damage taken by 8%. This is a fucking insane buff to just have. You don't have to do anything. It's just there. You just have it equipped, and it's there. This is so powerful, which is one of the main reasons why I don't think Guardian's Heart is ever going to be viable on her, because what you're going to be doing is she's going to be part of the Sword of Convallaria team, which means you are going to be having Mytha, and Mytha is just a better tank. It's what she does. I would probably go more of a survival guard route. I mean, that's her 2 things, but you know what I would mean. This is going to be her primary tank. And she also gets the battle flag of Convallaria. So you're going to be running both these characters in the same party pretty much always. For all Sword of Convallaria allies in battle, increases attack by 10% and defense by 20%. So these do stack. Okay, caveat to what I just said. I've been further educated. Yes, leader auras stack, but they don't stack. The same effects don't stack, right? So if you have 2 leaders auras that both affect attack and defense or whatever, only the higher of the 2 will stack. But so like if there was another character that's like, oh, a Sword of Convallaria allies or Ira allies, it doesn't do attack and defense, it just does I don't know, maybe it does magic defense and magic attack, like that, they would all stack. You would get the whole bonus. But basically unfortunately, so Mytha's ultimate here, basically, I'm gonna say it a few more times because I edited this in post, but this basically doesn't do anything. But I think that's still not irrelevant. That's lame, but the team is still going to be the team anyway. I still think it's going to be very powerful. I was told. I'm not level 35 yet. I can't see that, but I was told that they stack, so that's very good. Also, you can click right here if you want to see who else is a Sword of Convallaria ally. Take a look at this. 1, Stormbreaker's in here. Kind of weird. I don't know why, but still. Beryl. I didn't know Beryl was. I didn't know Inanna was. I didn't know Momo was, or this, but like I thought it was just these 3. And I was like, okay, these 2 have an ability, but it's not really a team. But now you have these 2 having their abilities, making Momo and Inanna fucking top fucking tier units. And then honestly, we all have Fykel. Fykel's good too. Like, I mean, this is just a team right here. This is really good. If you have Inanna. If you don't have Inanna, the team might be a little harder to come together. But you have the insane magic damage dealer, an insane physical damage dealer, an insane tank, and a ranger, and a healer, and a dancer, and AoE, and damage over time, and something. I don't know what she does. She's an elf lady. Absolutely take this ability. It is what you want. It basically is the best thing about the whole character, in my opinion. But she does just do really good on any normal team just by doing a lot of damage. So next up, these abilities, I'm going to say pick your favorite, however you're going to use her. if this replaces her basic attack, and I think she has the best basic attack in the game, even though it does less damage. If you really, really want the ability to dispel, then Dispelling Strike is good. It's nice to have someone that has that ability somewhere on the team. But on the other hand, this is on your off turns because you're not going to always have turns to do all your energy. This will give you 15% more damage, and because you have such a high crit chance, you're also going to be doing extra crit damage. So this is a lot stronger of a damaging attack. So I'm probably going to pick this one, whereas the Dispel, I'll probably rely again on a more of a dedicated character that does that kind of stuff personally. But pick your favorite. Rank 11, this one is just so simple, unfortunately. Again, I mean, these are all pretty easy. For me, I'm like, this is the one that I'm debating, but very simple. For me, easy, 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 pretty easy. And this ability is fine, but what's across from it is so good. It's so good. But what is this? When an ally in battle is defeated, it recovers 30% HP for the character, and the character gains attack, physical defense, and magic defense up 2 for 3 turns. I mean, this is good. It's fine, but like, you're not... The thing is, the hardest content is Tower, right? In Tower, you lose when your second character dies. So this will activate exactly once, and it could be good, but it's like, there's not a build. I mean, it might activate more than once, right? If you have like a summoning thing going on, you have more units. I think as there's more units that are added that can summon units, like Inanna has a bunch of guards, it could get better. But I think maybe right now it just hasn't felt that strong. These are good buffs. The free heal is good, but it's like, you don't usually want to rely on things that require you to die, except for Guzman, because he's the GOAT, and you purposely make him die because he picks himself back up. But still, I'm not in love with it, but I would be happy to take it if it wasn't for the Gale spin attack. Now, this is an insanely expensive ability. It costs 4. This isn't, you could use it every turn if you you have someone dedicated to somehow getting you that much juice every turn. But what does it do? She deals 50% AoE damage to all enemies within a 2-tile radius. So it's a pretty big radius. I mean, it's not crazy big, but it's good enough. So this swings 3 times. I believe it's 3 times, not twice. I think it's 3 times. After dealing damage, inflicts defense down 2 on the target for 2 turns. Subsequent attacks each deal 50% additional AoE damage. So let's say she's tipsy, 10 times 2. She's got 60% crit chance. She's just swinging them around. Also, like, this lasts for 2 turns, so then your debuff attack is suddenly doing more as well. You know, the original first attack she starts with, but hits them for 50%. Boom, they all get physical down. Hits them again for 50%. Now they have 40% less defense, and you hit them again. And it's just like, this ability is so strong at AoE killing everything. Insanely powerful ability. So now she becomes, it's not consistent because it is expensive, but one of the best AoE damage killers, one of the best single target damage killers, one of the best AoE buff characters without even using an ability, because this ability is sick. And then she's got self-sustain. She's got self-damage negation. She's got self-buffs. She's just a fucking super staple character. But I think really she's going to be mostly for the sort of Convallaria team. But honestly, I think she's going to also be really good on any map where you want to frequently knock shit off edges. If there's like a lot of you know, pools of water or shit you can knock things into, she's one of the best because she doesn't need a skill. There's no cooldown. You just come up here, you gash, they die. As for weapons, you're gonna get the feast axe for her right after you get her, and it is just like a perfect axe for her. It's like not a coincidence. It's basically a signature weapon in a lot of ways. If the target's HP percentage is lower than the character's, so if she's hitting something with lower HP than herself, which is frequent because she always heals herself like all the time, you get bonus attack. And then if you actually kill something, which is pretty easy for her, you actually heal as well. So she's good at keeping herself topped up without any support. So your healers can focus on your other characters that may need the healing, like your tanks that are tankier, but not maybe as good at healing themselves. Or they're spending, they're spending their turns doing that. I don't think the devil's what I would do here. I think what I would take is the attacking injured enemies ignores 20% of their defense. This is okay, but if you're going to be doing physical defense down, I'm not in love with it, but I still do like it. There's not a whole lot that I feel like are insane. I did consider doing the increased healing effect as well. I think that could be good. That's probably what I'm going to go with, honestly, just to keep her out of the injured state for sure, always, because I don't think she needs that much help with the damage if she's going for but she has a lot of multi-hit attacks, which is good, right? If this can hit someone with their 30% out or down into the injured range, and then suddenly her follow-up attack always kills. But If it did 30% damage with a 30% thing, then the other attack would have killed anyway. As for the armor, I actually think I am going to use this. Inflicts a random level 2 attribute debuff just to get a random like 10% damage boost on her Gale Smash on stronger enemies. I think it's kind of like a... I don't think this is best in slot, but I do think it's a pretty fun thing here. Another item that you would maybe consider here is the cooling powder. I'm using this on my tank, but it makes it so you're immune to not being able to be healed because a lot of her kit is on self-healing. So that is something that you might want to consider as well. Again, legendary shit. Who knows if you're going to find it, but I don't know, just a couple ideas there. But yeah, that's basically how to build her. These are going to be the allies you're going to use. I think a typical team is going to be her, Mytha, Beryl, Inanna, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then honestly a PYF. I mean, I'm going to use Stormbreaker, obviously, because it's the one I have, but I'm tempted to do Momo if I get Momo, but we'll see. Very strong team coming up. So yeah, make sure you're using this character. She's super strong. She's super cool. And honestly, it's just nice to have such a dedicated bruiser. Even if she's not going to be the leader of your team, she could do a lot of badass work and just keeps on fighting till the very end. Anyway, Purplatypus is Purplatypus. I'll see you on the flip-flops. Bye!
Platypus on the rise, watch the views go.